Yo, what's going on? This is Afi Kingdom. Happy, was it Saturday night? I see the UFC fight. I forgot all about that. What's going on, Freddie Sharp? As you guys come in, make sure you like the video. I got my man.
What's up, man?
What's
Thank you for having me. Turn the camera on?
Yeah. Turn the camera on. There
all right.
Go. So I got my man with fire on here. He has game and he gets the chicks. We're gonna talk about some game. We're just a live Q&A. Real chill, but real intimate, but we're gonna really talk about some shit. So let me just ask you, how long have you been on YouTube?
I've been on YouTube for 2.5 years.
2.5 years. When you started, did you have a goal for it? Did you kind of like start on accident? Like, what was your beginning stages when you started?
So when I used YouTube wasn't the first platform I started on. I was first I was on Facebook, and then I had a website. So by the time I started YouTube, I already had an audience. Like at that point, my Facebook group was several thousand people. So but the Facebook group itself started purely on accident. It was I literally just wanted to share stories about my hookups and get some validation from cool bros on the internet. So I was just writing layer reports. Just because I enjoyed doing that. I was working a very stressful job, like 50 hours a week in doing sales. So I started that by accident, and then it just kind of grew from there. But the whole thing started, just out of nothing really.
Yeah. So you started from Facebook, and what people just started like sharing a video, or was it more of a private thing?
The Facebook, well, there was no videos for a while. It was just layer reports. It was just like I would just write that stuff up. For a while I didn't want to show my face, because I thought I was going to be in the corporate world for a while. It wasn't until I fully committed to this business that I began showing my face. But yeah, so it started with a Facebook group. Then I built a website, playingfire.com. Then the YouTube came after that.
What's up? Thanks for Maximus for the super chat. Respect. Good to catch you live. Yeah, brother, it's good to see you. Just chilling. I'm loving the book. Haven't read it first. Yeah, you got to read them both, brother. You in the UFC, bro?
Me? I'm not a huge fan, but I do enjoy watching the fights. Like I'm all about one of my favorite fighters, Rampage Jackson. Unfortunately, he's been out of it for a while. But yeah, so I'm not like a hardcore fan, but I do like it.
Yeah, I used to be a hardcore fan, and then I stopped having TV, so I kind of lose touch sometimes. I kind of just do the Fire Stick Amazon Prime game. That's what I converted to. So a lot of stuff I gotta hear about it. I'm missing out on things until they kind of.
Yeah, I haven't had a TV in 5 years. I don't. I purposely choose not to have a TV. whenever I do, there's only like one or two shows that I like, Game of Thrones and Narcos, and those I just watch on my phone. But like, I don't want to have the incentive to watch TV because I spent the first 25 years of my life, I wasted way too much of it watching, fucking bullshit.
Hey, you know what's some real game? I think people that have never detached from TV are actually missing out, bro. What do you think? Like it? I mean, because I think the perception is you don't watch TV, you're gonna be bored and shit. What are you gonna do now? You can do a lot, bro. Like
there's so much. There's way more things you can do. You don't have enough time to even do a fraction of the things that you could do. I think that there are some fucking awesome shows out there. Like I don't think I could ever give up Game of Thrones, even though the season's over now. But I think that the trap that a lot of people fall into is that they just watch way too much TV. So they spend I think they did a study on this. The average American watches like 3-4 hours of TV a day, dude. It's like insane. Like the average person wastes like a fifth of their day just watching fucking mindless television. It's not like they're watching some shit that's going to make them better. They're mostly watching like stupid shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians and shit like that. So I think what you watch definitely matters. But generally speaking, I think it's good to just focus on other shit. Because if you have TV, you're never going to read because it's just so much easier to watch TV. So if you're extremely self-disciplined, then it's okay. But for most people, yeah, I would say it's good to detach from the TV for a while. Just focus on reading, or audiobooks. I do a lot of audiobooks. But most people don't read. 95% of people, I think, just haven't read a book in years.
What's the last 3 books that you read?
So let's pop open.
Audiobooks included. You know what I mean? It's the same knowledge.
Yeah. I mostly do audiobooks. So let me pull it up. So The Body Keeps the Score. It's a psychiatry book about people who've had traumatic injuries and how their body winds up, just hanging on to trauma. It's interesting, not really, self-development, but something that's I'm fascinating in. Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, which is a very interesting book. And then Thank You for Your Service, which is a memoir by an ex-Ranger. So those ones. I also read a lot of fantasy books. So I've been rereading the Game of Thrones books, the True Blood series, Living Dead in Dallas, shit like that. So I read a variety of stuff.
That's what's up. Is that a habit that you picked up on yourself, or were you kind of raised like that? Like me, I was kind of raised to read books. Like my mom put me on it so early that I didn't realize I was doing something that people didn't think was cool.
Oh, dude, not at all. I really didn't get into reading until I was in my mid-20s. Honestly, up until from the age of whatever, since I learned how to read 3 or 4 to the age of let's say 25. Maybe I read a dozen books or several dozen, whatever they made us do at school. But I never read on my own accord. It wasn't until I was 24, 25 that I started realizing, when I got into self-development, I started realizing the importance of reading.
Mm-hmm. It can be really, it can really help you because it's I remember one book that I read that changed my life was Purpose Driven Life. And it wasn't,
never read that one.
Yep, it was a good book, but it's the timing that I came on it. It was the perfect thing I needed to hear. You know what I mean? Sometimes you read sometimes you may read a book and then it may not really hit you until later on when you go through some shit. And then okay, now you know what I'm saying?
For sure, man. I mean, let's take the book Total Recall by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did you ever read that one?
No. But that's one of my movies though.
Dude, you got to read the book. It's literally one of my favorite books. When people ask me what book do you recommend, that one's always in the top 3, every single time.
How accurate is it? See, now we about to have a real conversation now. How accurate is it to the movie?
It's not at all about the movie. So the movie he picks the name Total Recall as basically a double entendre, but it's about his life. It's not about the plot of the movie. It's a biography.
Total Recall. I'm gonna check that out.
Autobiography. Yeah. So the name is just a coincidence. He just does that as a pun or whatever, double entendre. But dude, the book is fucking epic. But there's several different themes in the book, right? Because he had Arnold Schwarzenegger was an extremely fascinating character. He was the best at bodybuilding, so that was a big chapter in his life. He was one of the top actors, and then he got into politics and became the governor, right? Irrelevant of what you think about his actual policies, it's pretty impressive that someone could be the best or reach the top in those 3 fields, which are fairly unrelated. So for example, when I first read the book, like several years ago, I wasn't really into bodybuilding, right? I was just mainly, I saw the part that I got the most out of was like his business and his work ethic. But now I reread the book like 6 months ago, and like now I've been really into working out. And so like that whole part about bodybuilding now has a totally different effect on me. So sometimes I'll definitely reread books, like, you know, some of the classics I reread like, you know, once every year or so.
Maximus said it was an excellent read. So y'all put me on game. That's what's up. I just
Yeah, dude, you got that's top 3 by far.
Yeah. What would you tell dudes? Like, we all have like our different approaches. Like me, as far as game, I emphasize on mindset and mouthpiece. What are your three things that are kind of like your go-tos? What do you feel is most important for a man when it comes to dating?
I would say focus on maximizing. So my whole thing is, don't focus on one thing. Don't get like tunnel vision. Focus on maximizing every single aspect of your life. So when guys come to me, I say, okay, focus on fitness. I want you to go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week and train really hard and put on 25, 30, 40, 50 pounds of muscle over time. Like, I think it's essential for every man to be in his top fitness, right? That's one thing. Secondly, focus on, you know, expanding your, you know, date, like get some good pictures. Get on Instagram, you know, get on like the best dating apps. Get on Tinder, get on Bumble, on Hinge. Quite often guys are maybe like on one dating app, like, Tinder doesn't work. I'm like, okay, try Bumble, try Hinge. You know, there's no shortage of dating apps in 2020, right? Like, so expand basically your reach. Third is achieve financial independence. That's huge, because you're not going to be able to like really, you know, focus on self-development if you have to work like, you know, 40, 50 hours a week on a job you don't like, right? So achieve financial independence. Obviously that doesn't happen overnight, but, you know, if you're passionate about business, start a business. You know, if, for example, you want to work for someone, to get to a point where you have so much, you know, experience and you bring so much value that your boss lets you work remotely. But get to a point where you can work remotely. Like, you don't want to be tied to a paycheck. I learned that lesson in my late 20s when I was working for a job, that corporate job that I mentioned, and the company, you know, I was good at that job, dude. I got 3 promotions in a year and a half, right? Like, I was headed, you know, to, you know, whatever. I was climbing the corporate ladder, as they say, and I lost my job, and so did 500 other people, because upper management made some bad decisions and company went bankrupt. So you want to always like be at a point where you're never at the mercy of other people. Like, even though that might not sound like it's directly related to game, you know, if you're broke and you're not sure how you're going to eat, that's going to fuck with your confidence. You know, like, if you're financially secure, you're going to just have like a little more swagger to your step. So I would say those 3 things.
That's good game. I think you can probably agree with this too. Since I started YouTube, I feel like my game has got colder because I have less time. Would you agree with that?
No, not necessarily. I feel like no, because I never did that much cold approach though. I was never like running around doing a lot of cold approach. Like, I still like, you know, like, well,
no, I don't mean cold approach. I mean, just like, I'm a real sav now. Like, I really don't have time for bullshit because I don't really have time. That's what I mean.
I wouldn't say that applies to me, just because I find the time. So like, I'm a big believer in that you can find the time whatever you prioritize, you know. So I'll prioritize, you know, getting laid for sure. You know, like, I just know that I need to get a certain amount of pussy to like fucking be happy as a person. So, dude, I could be playing with fire. Could have 1 billion subscribers. I could be like getting clients left and right. I'll still fucking pencil in pussy Todd. Like, I just
pencil in pussy Todd.
Yeah. Like, I could be literally the president of the world, and like, you know, fucking millions of lives are at stake. I'm like, all right, guys, 8 o'clock. My Tinder chick is coming over. Let's you know, the starving children can wait a day.
I feel you. Have you ever been a relationship type before?
I've been in relationships for sure. I don't know if I'm the relationship type per se, because I'm pretty selective. But I've been in my whole life, I've been in 4, I would say, somewhat serious relationships.
And is that your thing, or you kind of just was doing what you think you were supposed to do? Like, at the end of the day, do you want to settle down?
I don't know if ultimately I think I do. Like, I think that when I'm in my 50s, maybe, like, I'm gonna wanna, you know, just settle down. Or maybe in my 40s. but every single one of my relationships I just kind of fell into. It was just like right place, right time. Like my first one, it was my senior year of college. You know, I was just like, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I didn't have a plan. I was just kind of like, I was going from party to house party, just getting drunk. So I was at a place in my life where like, and then also I had an upcoming surgery. So I was just in a place where like a relationship would have been really good for me. And it was like, girl like got me through some dark times. My second time I was, had just been diagnosed with Lyme disease and I was like almost bedridden. So like, you know, having the support, dude, I could barely walk, you know, so having the you know, my second girlfriend, Lindsay, like was also like, that's not to say I didn't have true feelings for her, but like, it was like the right place, right time, you know. Third girlfriend, same thing. It was when I was like already living in Miami. I had hooked up with so many girls and I just like, it was a true, like, you know, Maria was just like a breath of fresh air. So, you know, it was just like, it was like a lot of it was right place, right time, right girl. Like all the girls were like really awesome. Like none of them like tricked me into it, you know. Like I hear stories, guys are like, yeah, this chick, she got me. She tricked me into the relationship. Like that doesn't fucking happen to me. Like no one's tricking me. It's like if I'm in a relationship with a girl, it's because I really like her and I chose her.
Yeah, the leading position is always best. And I think that's good that you said about the timing. Like a lot of times when you end up in relationships or even date, it's not always, see, I think like guys are just chasing women that they like and then hoping the relationship comes out of it. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like I think she's hot. I want her to be my girl. But really you just kind of like, if you really genuinely vibe with somebody and it kind of builds rapport, and then like there's gonna be points in your life where you gotta focus and you don't have, you know what I'm saying? You're doing your editing, you're doing whatever. So it's just good to have somebody you on the back end to chill with. And then you guys in somebody that you can, you know, that you don't, I don't know. I've been in relationships that were a hassle and I've been in relationships that wasn't that bad. Like, you know what I mean? All chicks aren't hard to get along with. Like it's chicks that are just kind of chill and dope. You know what I mean? And if that's your thing, it's kind of easy to chill. You feel me?
For sure.
Not just like you're looking for it.
Yeah, I mean, people are people, right? So there's some girls that are, you know, gonna be fucking a nightmare, and there's some girls that's gonna be way more chill than even like your close best friends, right? Like all the girls that I was in a relationship with are so chill. Like, dude, my second to last girlfriend, like she could literally like spend 10 hours laying on the couch on Instagram if I was working. Like she would not need to bother me at all. And as soon as I finished working, she was down for whatever. Like, oh, you want to have sex? Cool, let's do it. Oh, you want to go for a walk? Oh, you want to like fucking, you know, do this? Like she was just so easy. Oh, I got nothing to do. I guess I'll just clean your apartment. You know, oh, I'll just make you dinner while I wait for you to finish. So, yeah, girls are definitely, you know, all different.
I think if women knew that if they put in more work as far as like investing in a dude, they'll get more relationships out of it. Like women kind of want relationships, but it seems like they demand it and they're mad because they don't get it. You know what I mean?
Entitlement culture, dude. Like if you look at like Asia or South America, the women there, on average, obviously there's exceptions, will put in way more work. Like in Latin America, okay, you know, in Colombia, right? If you have a date at 8 o'clock, the chick will start getting ready at like 5:30, right? Because it takes her 2 hours to get ready. Like my very last girlfriend was Colombian. Even after we were in a relationship for a while, she would still spend like hour and a half getting ready to come over. It was like, baby, you don't have to do that anymore. Like, I already know you're hot. Like, we're gonna get naked anyway. Like, she's like, no. She's like, Alex, you don't understand. Like, I want to. Like, I'm gonna look my very best every time we hang out. I'm like, you don't have to. She's like, no. That's how I was raised. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. Versus a lot of American girls, they take like pride in almost being sloppy. Like, yeah, whatever. I just fucking rolled up. Like, man, like I just got out of bed. I rolled up. Not to say that that's like, you know, that I'm like some fucking, you know, super posh person or something like that. But the point of this is to show an example that like it's just cultural. In America, there's like there's so many great American girls. So I'm just talking in extreme generalities, but there's this culture of entitlement, right? So it's like, yeah, whatever. He either likes me or he doesn't, right? But it's no like, you know, the chicks aren't like, it's not considered as cool for, you know, for like American girls to like put in the work.
Right. Since you were a traveling brother, tell guys, because I'm a guy on my channel, I always preach traveling. What's the difference to you since you've been over there of dating a hot Colombian chick versus dating a hot chick in America or a Spanish chick?
Okay, so we're just, again, we're talking averages here because everything I say about Colombian girls will apply to some American girls and will not apply to other Colombian girls. But yeah, so if just keeping that in mind. We're talking about in averages. Colombian girls on average are going to be more feminine. So they're going to be, like this, the fucking, this, what's it called? The extreme the feminazis, like that shit doesn't exist in Colombia, right? Like it's not a thing there. Like all the girls are happy to be feminine and they want you to be masculine. So if you try to, like, for example, get the girl to pay for half, like in Colombia, like that's going to be more culturally frowned upon there than it is in America, where it might be normal for a girl to pay for half on the date. That's like one example, but generally speaking, the girls are going to be sweeter. They're going to be more feminine. They're going to put in a lot more effort into their appearance and getting ready. You will never see a hairy pussy in Colombia or in Latin America. That will never happen. That's never once happened to me. All the girls are like extremely well trimmed, right? Just like to them, that would be like, like so embarrassing to like show up to a guy's house and not have their, fucking every single thing that they have control over on point. Like in America, you obviously occasionally do see that. So yeah, we're just getting into like some specific examples here. In terms of relationships, the girls will become a lot more attached to you a lot faster in Colombia. So you'll have girls who are just like, and some guys like that, some guys don't. I think most guys probably do like that when the girl's like, she's like almost obsessed with them. Also, Latina girls are generally more jealous. I have noticed that. Like,
unpack that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like my last girlfriend, like she would literally, like she would call me if I didn't pick up the phone. Her assumption was I'm fucking another girl. I'm like, I gotta take a shit sometimes. I gotta fucking, do things. Like if I don't pick up the phone, doesn't mean my dick is inside another woman. It's not to say it can't happen, but like majority of the time, like I'm not fucking another girl. But yeah, it's just like this hardcore, I don't know, cultural jealousy there. Like pretty much every Latina who I was in somewhat of a relationship with, like definitely I noticed a lot of jealousy. And that's not to say that it's a deal breaker because, for example, sometimes you could talk, sometimes it's almost like endearing. It's like she likes you so much that she.
Come back. I don't know what happened. He just heated up and went away. He'll come back in a second. I'm still on, right? Yeah. Press 1. Can you hear me? Press 1 if you can hear me. He just flew off. Right mid-sentence. All right, cool. So now all I gotta do is just wait for him to come back. Let me Cool. Yeah, he back.
Stop.
He said you spit so much heat the computer couldn't handle it.
Yeah, the computer's like, damn, you're dropping too much knowledge for me. Hang on, I'm gonna spaz out real quick. Yeah, my computer's a feminist. I got the PC feminist version. No, man, like we're talking about jealousy. Like it's almost like sometimes it's endearing. Like it's like this chick cares about you so much that she's like fucking like paranoid that I don't know. Depends on your personality, but yeah, that's just like a cultural thing that you gotta keep in mind. If you're gonna go for Latino women, there's gonna be more jealousy.
Have you ever dipped into the Asian pot?
Yeah, a bit. I have never dated an Asian, but I definitely hooked up with plenty. Me personally, I'm not that physically attracted to Asian girls because I like big booties. Right. There's the occasional, Asian unicorn, like a Asian chick with big tits, big asses. So those, like, I do definitely very much love, but they're pretty rare.
What about black chicks?
My first girlfriend ever was black, actually. Like bullshit girlfriend when you're in like middle school. You know those relationships.
People get about it.
But I got as far as a kiss with her. We in 6th grade, that was quite the accomplishment for me. But no, man, I've never been that into black chicks either that much. One exception was when I was in college. There was a girl who I was like loosely seeing for a bit. She was half black, but yeah, I've mostly been into Latin girls.
Latin girls. I like Asian and Latin girls.
You like Asian? Yeah. Do you like the Asian girls who are like from Asia or like the Americanized Asian girls?
No, I like the ones from there.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I done been over there, so I can compare the difference. It's a difference.
You don't find them kind of bad in bed? They kind of lay there.
Yeah, but it's a dominance that's to the point where it's almost comedic.
Yeah, it's almost, dude, it's almost comedic. That's the best way to explain it. It's almost
Yeah,
comedic.
bro.
Like they just kind of late.
Yeah.
You know, I was seeing this Japanese girl for a bit. And I was like, you know, you can move. Like it's okay. Like I'm not a Japanese guy. I'm not into like the whole rapey you type of fantasy. Like you can move, you can bounce, you can do shit. Like that was like news to her. She was like, really? I was like, yeah.
Filipino girls are kind of like black-ish, the way that they act and shit.
Yes, yeah. Filipinos are like unique in that sense. Yes, you're right.
That's what I like. He said Latinas and Asians, they ain't been Americanized or something else.
Well, Filipinas are genetically they're half Latin. Like their genetics are Spanish-ish.
What about white girls? No.
Yeah, I mean, I've had my second girlfriend, Lindsay. She was white. Yeah, I live in Miami though. You got to keep in mind, Miami's like 80%, you know, Latina. Before that, I lived in Los Angeles, which was like 40-50%. So I just honestly, dude, I like big tits, big asses, olive skin, and femininity and passion. Right. So sometimes there are white girls who have that, but you know, generally speaking, it's going to be Latin girls. How what? You just kind of broke up.
I said, how was the dating scene out in LA?
Oh wait, now it's doing the echo.
Hold on.
All right, I think that's better. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you the whole time. I'm making sure you said you was an echo.
Let me say something and see. No, there's no echo now. All right, we're good.
Right.
Yeah, it's what I don't like about LA is it's so fucking flaky, man. Yeah, it's like I think it's the flakiest city possibly in the world. So you know, like you know, one time I remember this clearly. It was a Sunday. I had set up 5 dates in one date, right? Because because in LA girls flake a lot, so you have to set up multiple dates. But I remember this day, I was like 5 girls. I'm like, damn, this is gonna be a challenge. I'm like, I was fucking, you know, chugging water and like taking my mock. I was like, all right, 5 girls, you can do this. Every single one of my 5 dates flaked. 5 dates who all flaked. Like, dude, like that does not happen in other cities, you know. And these weren't like bullshit numbers. These are like all solid leads. So you know, it's super flaky. Yeah, I would say unless you're famous, you're a celebrity, you have some kind of status, LA is not really the best dating scene.
I remember when I went to Boston, that sounded like when I went to New York. I went like 0 for 9. It took me like a full day to catch New York's vibe, bro.
I find New York a lot better actually because the population density in New York is good, and then also the male to female ratio in New York is good. You have like more girls for every guy versus LA. It's the opposite. It's more guys for every girl. SF is the worst. In San Francisco, you have like fucking 4 dudes for every chick. So
I'm just real chill in you know, I'm not the aggressive type, and you gotta be like that a little bit out there. It kind of like women out there move a little fast.
New York or LA?
No, like well, LA too, but I'm saying like New York. New York is where I have.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's like a certain like edge, dude. Boston is even worse. I went to university in Boston, and like dude, like so many. Like, you know, it was weird when I moved out to LA. The first thing I noticed is there's no fights. Like I go out in LA, and the night would end without me seeing a single fight. There's no way you're going to go out on a Friday night in Boston and not see at least 5 fights. Like, there's no way it can happen. So to me, it was like weird. I was like, holy shit, like no one fights around here. Like, that's so odd. In Boston, there's like at least 20 drunk brawls, you know, every night.
I've never been to Boston, bro. I remember I hooked up with this chick from Boston on the cruise. She had a big butt. I was on a Bahamas cruise, I think. And that's the only Boston I had an interaction with. But that was kind of, I don't know if you've been on the cruise, but the cruises, I think people be sleeping on them. You can get a lot of action off of a cruise because you keep running into the chicks and then there's shit to do all the time. That's free. So if you're walking around and you at the bar getting a drink, you'll see a girl, she's gonna get a drink with you. Talk to her. You about to go rock climbing, she about to go rock climbing. Y'all going rock climbing now, indoor, whatever. You hungry? Me too. Let's go get some steak. It's right over there. You know what I'm saying? So, and let's play miniature golf afterwards on the boat.
And afterwards, I'm gonna come in your face. Yeah.
Right.
You know, one of my really good friends, he's always telling me I should go on a cruise. Honestly, I think I'm a little too claustrophobic for a cruise. I'm just kind of weird like that. But you know, one thing I did want to ask you actually, because we were talking about Asian girls earlier, did you notice that a lot of Asian girls like don't shave their pubic hair?
Yeah, but I haven't had like a messy one though.
One of my buddies who was in Thailand, I was like asking if I should come. He's like, dude, he's like, you're not gonna like it. I was like, why? He's like, dude, there's so many girls like have bushes here.
I've done a lot of I've done a lot of fucking, so I've seen crazy shit. So I can appreciate just regular shit. Regular shit won't bother me. There's certain ones that stand out in my history.
There's like fucking birds and shit. Like there's like a bird nest in her pubes and shit like that. Like the fucking like I don't know animal. Like it's some extinct animal just flies out of there. Some pterodactyl or something like that.
Yeah, just some crazy fucking. I don't know. Asian chicks are cool though, man. Spanish chicks are. I don't know, bro. Like, do you have a certain type as far as like I know your type is as far as race and shit, but like, do you have a thing like do you like more chill chicks or hot chicks or chicks that are on the scene or you know what I mean? Like,
I don't like party girls because I don't really party that much. If a girl's going to too many clubs and shit like that, I mean, I'll fuck her, but chances are we're not gonna date. In terms of personality, I like girls who are I want a girl who's smart. She has to be like, you know, pretty intelligent. I want her to be very sweet, very loyal, good sense of humor. That's a must. Very affectionate. So there's like certain, and typically party girls won't fall into that mold. I typically, if we look at the girls who I'm hooking up with now, all three of them, they all like have whatever professional jobs. Like they all like. They're not like bums or something like that. Like all the girls.
Who was that girl you was making out with? You was all on top of her and all of that shit. I was laughing about that.
Her, yeah, she actually makes porn for a living. So she actually is whatever. I met her on Tinder, but her primary job is porn. So she was the exception, but I never dated her. Like we just hooked up and we made a few videos together. She wasn't like long-term type of thing.
How's the Tinder game for you out there in Miami?
It's good, bro. It's good. I mean, I get a lot of matches. Sometimes it's just a matter of keeping up with everything.
Mm-hmm. What kind of tips would you give guys? Because guys ask me about the Tinder shit, and I don't even know it. Like how I know you know it. So it's like,
yeah, man, I mean, for sure. That's a question we could do like 3 live streams on. But to like make some very long stories short, I would say focus on first.
Just unpack it. However you effective, just tell them.
No, let's unpack it. You got to think of online game, and I think game in general, but really online game as a funnel, right? So it starts with getting the leads, right? So you do that, by matching with a girl on a dating app. So what does that mean? That means you have to get your profile pictures on point. Quite often guys obsess about their bio, and they're like, oh, maybe if I change this one word, I'll get more matches. I'm like, no, dude, your pictures suck. Like, it's by far the biggest factor in online dating in terms of getting leads is going to be your pictures. So in terms of pictures, there's 3 things that you want. So guys, when they think a good picture, they usually think just a picture that was taken with a good camera, right? That's only one part of it. The other part of it is that you have to look good in the picture. So look at me right now, right? Like I look okay. Now look at me if I do this. I don't look fucking good. I look kind of ugly when I do this. Right, that's like a bad look. But sometimes guys have pictures like that. The first profile pictures, them like.
You could even screen share a picture of your Instagram and show them if you got an example you want to show them.
Yeah, check out my. You guys are more than welcome to check out my Instagram. It's @SirAlexZ. It's public. You can see all the pictures I have on my Instagram. I use on my Tinder. So you're gonna see, basically, what I mean by good pictures, right? So first, you have to look good in the picture. So you have to look smooth, right? It's hard for me to fake it, right? But like if I'm feeling an emotion, like you just have to like look solid. So check out my Instagram to see examples. Like I look better in every single one of those pictures than I do right now. It's not to say it's not me or that, I'm a different person. It's just that I took 100 fucking pictures that day. And one of them, like, how chicks do angles? You're kind of doing that also. You want to get like a good, like everything, the lighting's on point, your facial expression on point. Like angles and lighting are huge factors. They can make you look you can look like a 6 or you can look like an 8 that same day based on angles and lighting. So guys often forget that. And the third component, this is the component that guys really often forget about. No, so you're on my business one, so that's not going to have pictures of me. Go to my personal one, Sir Alex Z.
All right, go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Let me see if you find it, Sir Alex. It's all one word.
Okay.
And then Z.
Oh, Z. I think I've seen you.
Z.
I see your picture right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, so scroll down, like look at my profile picture, right? Like that's like all these are like fairly solid pics, right? Like the dog one, right? Like look like let's take the example of the one, right? Like I look pretty good in that one, but like look at the dog
Tell him
one.
about this guy. Tell him about this game too.
Dude, my dog, yeah, he fucking gets more like IOIs than I do. Honestly, it's almost annoying sometimes. Like I'll have chicks over and they'll just like be too obsessed with my dog.
This is very high status right here.
Yeah.
It's a high status picture, guys. Just on my purpose. That's all I'm doing. Just
I give some examples. But like let's analyze this picture, right? Like my body language is good. I'm looking away. Like I just look good in that fucking picture. But that day, this was in Poland, we took like 100 pictures, right? Like believe me, 99 of those pictures did not look like this. The one was a good one. And the third factor that I was talking about is you want to look natural in your pictures, right? So look at this picture. It looks very natural, right? It doesn't look like I'm posing. I'm not like, hey, mom, take the picture, mom. Right? It just looks very natural. So that's a key component. The look that you're trying to go for is that you were doing some cool activity and someone popped up without even telling you and took a picture of you, like paparazzi or something like that. So that's the third component. So once you get a solid profile, then you get leads coming in. At that point, it's a matter of converting those leads into meetups and hookups, right? So how do you do that? Well, that involves text games. So first you're going to want to open the girl, right, with a solid opener.
This is an easy bait game right here, guys. This is bait.
Yeah. That was when I was in Mexico.
I want to be there.
For sure. Like, look at my taglines at the office, right? It's like kind of like so cheeky.
Oh, yeah, see? At the office.
Right. Because
that's saying you're an entrepreneur without saying anything.
Exactly. So that's the best way to like DHV yourself, display higher values. If I was to say, if my tagline was, it's so awesome to be able to be an entrepreneur and work from wherever you like, that wouldn't be high value. That would actually be low value because I'm bragging, right? But if I just say at the office, it's the same exact point across, right, without me bragging, right? So I think that's another important side note that I want to point out. So going back to this, so you use text game to take those, the leads into, hookups and dates, and that's a whole thing. I mean, you can check out. I have plenty of videos on my channel that show you exactly various aspects of text game. But basically, you want to get an investment from the girl and then smoothly close, right? So, that's kind of like, to make a very long story short. That's pretty much it. I saw we had someone write, I've been on Badoo for 4 years, never had any luck. Well, first of all, Badoo is pretty much one of the worst dating apps. I've only ever in my whole life met one chick from Badoo, one chick, and she was crazy as fuck. That is literally the worst of the worst dating apps. So I would recommend Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. Those are probably the best three.
What do you think about Bumble?
It's my favorite app right now.
Give some guys the Bumble game. Some guys might not have heard of Bumble. I'm up on Bumble though.
I meet more girls from Bumble than I do from Tinder by far.
Why do you think that is? What's the difference between Bumble and Tinder as far as
it just has to do Tinder, like almost like Tinder's almost because it's been around for so long, like there's like that negative association associated with, like, oh, it's just a hookup app. So a lot of chicks, for example, they just don't want to have Tinder on their phone, right? Like it's just not something they want to have. So they think, these chicks might be really wanting a hookup, they want to get laid, they just don't want to get Tinder. It's kind of cliche, like it's a hookup app, fuck boys, man. This all happens on a subconscious level. So like, you know what, Bumble, it's gonna be better quality guys on there. As a result of that, the quality of girls on Bumble is a lot higher. Also, the girls on Bumble are on average much more serious about meeting up than Tinder. Like Tinder, you have to go through a lot of chicks before you find one that's like serious about meeting up.
I think Bumble is the best one too. It seems like the girls are more. They're kind of professional, so they kind of like to not fuck around too.
100%, dude. Hinge is a close second, though.
Never did Hinge before.
Hinge is great, man.
Is it more effective to date on the smaller one because it looks like you're a big fish in a small pond kind of thing?
No, I just think that you want to get on the 3 big dating apps. So you want to diversify. So that's why I always say, guys, get on Tinder, get on Bumble, and get on Hinge, right? You literally take the same exact profile. It's not like you have to reinvent the wheel. Maybe if it takes you half an hour to create your Tinder profile, you can then take the same thing and put it on Bumble and Hinge in 5 minutes, right? But you triple your, you spend maybe 10% more time, but you triple your reach. So I don't think there's, there's some smaller dating apps that not a lot of people have heard of, but I don't really like those. I generally speaking stick to these 3. Honestly, there's other dating apps that work. I just don't have time to be on 20 fucking apps.
What about Instagram?
Yeah, well, that's more of social media, but in terms of meeting girls through Instagram, for sure it's doable. I think that it's going to be hard for most guys because you need to have a good Instagram that shows value. Dude, a lot of guys, they'll be like, oh, all these chicks are not responding to my DMs, and their Instagram is literally 5 pictures, right? You need to, the key component of Instagram game is you need to have a lot of quality pics and stories, right? You need to have a life that girls are interested in. With Tinder, it's much easier to fake it, but Tinder, Bumble, because you only need 6 pics. So it's easier to get 6 good pics than it is to get 60 good pics.
I like that breakdown because that makes a lot of sense. That would be weird. If I seen a chick and she had 60 pics, it better be linked to her Instagram link. If she's posting that much on fucking Tinder, she literally I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is up with this shit?
Yeah. I think the dating apps are on average a lot easier. That's not to say they're better. I think that, there's certainly a lot of advantages to Instagram. I just think it takes more work.
Mm-hmm. What? And I'm asking you this because I had a consultation, maybe two days ago? Not yesterday, the day before yesterday. So this was okay. So you can, and it actually it'll be cool because he'll end up listening to this. So this thing, from what my observation was, he wasn't really confident. So what happened was, he actually taped some approaches and he played them for me.
Mm-hmm.
And there were certain things when the recordings, the women, they had high interest, and I was like, damn, you didn't notice that? She was all hanging on all your words, and his thing was he don't know how to close. So he would just talk. The interest would be high, and then he'll be like, all right, have a nice day. And I was like, you should have got her. So he kind of doesn't know how to read women to know when it's okay and when it's not okay. So what kind of advice would you give to be a closer? Because a lot of guys, they know how to interact, but I don't know. It's some of it, part of it's because of rejection, but part of it I think is something else. Guys just don't know how to close.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get rejected if you never go for the close, right? I guess you could off the opener, but you're never gonna get sorry, I don't give my number out if you never try to get her number, right? So it is a way of preventing rejection for sure. But I would say that, so let's look at it like a spectrum, right? On one end of the spectrum here, you got a guy who is horrible at closing. On this end of the spectrum, you got a guy who's way too aggressive with the close. He's almost he needs to chill out a little bit, right? So if you want to improve something, you want to go a little bit further in this direction to then meet in the middle. So I would tell that guy, listen, man, I want you with every single girl you talk to ask for her number. I don't care if the interaction looks like it's not going anywhere. It looks like literally she's about to reject you. You ask for her number anyway. You want to get in that habit of closing. And then if she says no, you say, Instagram, again, something that's really not effective game, but something that's gonna force you to snap out of your comfort zone and become much better at closing. Then, because you go really far in one direction, you're gonna be able to then kind of meet at a midway point. So, for example, I can tell you that. Actually, I don't know if I can even say this on YouTube. I'll try to make the story a bit more PG. But when I was getting into game, I would say my second year in game, right? I got really, really good at pulling chicks back to my place. I became really good at opening interaction and pulling chicks into my place, right? Under I used to follow RSD back then, so under a false excuse, oh yeah, let me show you this, get the girls to my place. But what I noticed is I was closing maybe one out of 3 girls that I was pulling to my place, which is horrible. horrendous closing ratio, right? So I'm like, okay, clearly something in my game needs to change because this is like, this is fucked up, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to really force myself to become a hardcore closer and show a lot more sexual intent. So then I can, get to the point where I'm at now. So to do that, I became like almost went like, I don't want to get like the channel shut down, but I basically went like really far in the other direction, right? I was like very sexually explicit with women. Like,
hey, you can say whatever you want. I keep it raw over here. I'm just chilling because I'm asking you questions.
well, like, okay, so like a big one I was doing would be like, almost like a big one I was doing would be like, like if I'm on a date and like, for example, we're making out, but the chick is like, I don't know, would you be like whipping my dick out, start jerking off, right? And like, literally for the first time I did that, I thought like, oh shit, like, obviously this is all common sense applies here. These are all girls who are into me. Like, obviously if a girl showed any discomfort, I would stop. Like, it wasn't like, anything like, creepy or something like that. It was more just like to get over my own fear of escalating, right? So like, like I'm making out with a girl, maybe she's like, oh yeah, we just, like she's hesitating a little bit, but she's still into it, right? In those situations, just whip my dick out, start jerking off, right? And again, this is not something that's I would consider good game. This is just something that I had to do to get over my fear of like closing. And you know what the weird thing is? When I started doing that, a lot of chicks were fucking into it. Like I remember the first time I did this was this Japanese chick I met at H&M, and she was like a little shy, blah blah. But when I whipped my dick out and started jerking off, she got so fucking horny and so into it. And then like that helped me get over my fear of escalation and kind of get to a point where like now I don't have to do that shit, obviously, but like. I went so far in one direction that I was able to really meet an assent. And again, I want to keep mentioning this. Like, this all is obviously within consent. You don't want to actually creep the girl out or do anything that's fucked up. This is all just to help you get over your own fear, as long as the girl's comfortable with it. Obviously, if the girl seems like she's uncomfortable, you want to stop.
That's crazy, bro. Because I have a similar experience. Shout out to Usher. Shout out to Adelina. What's going on, babe? Shout out to Kyle. Because when I really got over my fear of it is when I start having sex fast with chicks. Because when I first started, like women, I never was one of these guys who didn't get chicks. But what I learned from dating over the years is just how to be more effective with everything that I did. So, in my beginning stages, I would date all women the same because I thought that it was a process. Like you meet the women, you talk to her, you date, you have sex. So when I found out that you didn't have to go through that process and you can just kind of say what you want and get it, then that just said, hey, you know what? I could just kind of just put the shit out there instead of just playing this little dance game. It would be like a routine. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I like that too. That's my favorite show too. Yeah, I can't wait I miss you. Yeah. And that would just be like the routine and shit. Then when I start meeting chicks and being like, hey, come over here, we gonna take a shower together, and they be like, cool. I'd be like, oh, okay. I can just be bold like that and get results. Let me stop fucking playing around with this bullshit then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, like, we're kind of conditioned to think, growing up, unless like, you had a different upbringing than most people, it's that, sex is something that men enjoy and women just kind of do it for men, right? In reality, women love sex just as much, if not more than guys. But like, we're kind of like most guys, like you talk to the average guy on the street, he thinks that, sex is something that, a woman does for the man, maybe like she's not as into, like, guys are more sexual than girls, right? That's the conclusion that most guys think. In reality, women are as sexual, if not more sexual than men. So it's like I can tell someone that consciously, but you need to experience it, like if you've seen all the shit I've seen, like you have no doubt in the back of your mind that women love sex, right? Like I've seen some fucking shit, but like until you get to that point, like your subconscious brain is still going to be thinking like, I don't want to say this, she won't like that. But then you realize women, as long as they feel comfortable and not judged, those are the two key criteria, will be like way more sexual than men, in some situations.
She said, nice to meet you, and then pow. Pull out again. Sometimes you can get shit off of just shot value. I think guys need to understand shot value and timing can get you places you think you'll never go to. I'm saying shot value and timing. Like I've been in situations where I've just met chicks Like say I'm driving and then just I'm talking to a chick and she'll hop in the car with me and just do whatever the fuck that I'm about to do and shit. Like a lot of times, like, and then it could be a situation where they may not have some shit going on. They might be pissed at their boyfriend and be like, hell yeah, I'm drop the top on this bitch. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Timing and being bold, you know what I'm saying? Just or say you meet a chick at the club. She may not just because she slept with you on the first night don't mean shit. She does that every time, but the time she did it is because your game was tight that night. You know what I'm saying? And she was looking to do it.
For sure, man.
Had a friend. She may have had talk with her friends. Yeah, you never had a one night stand. Okay, let's make a bet. If you have a one night stand, I'm buy you your first 5 drinks or whatever, and then you don't even know that all this is going on. You just meet the girl.
Dude, right place, right time is huge. I mean, I can tell you this. I'll tell you, a quick little anecdote. I remember this was a few months ago. I'm going to the gym and I see a hot ass girl, fat ass, just kind of sitting by the gym, like not really doing much, right? So I approach her. My game was pretty good that day. Everything was on point. I was like, hey, like, I think we go to the same gym. I want to say hi. Like, I'm Alex. And she's like, hi. I was like, you just finished your workout? She's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Well, nice to meet you. Like, are you from here? Like, yeah, like just normal shit. Like, I didn't do anything weird or creepy or like, it's just like my game was on point. But she was so fucking like reluctant. Like, she like barely would engage with me in conversation. Right? I was like, I even called it out. I was like, hey, you seem like a little shy. What's up? Like, she's like, I just don't talk to strangers. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a stranger since we already met. We introduced ourselves. And yeah, she was just not fucking happy. A week later, I see her at Whole Foods, right? And she just kind of like gives me an awkward wave, and I say, hey, good to see you again, right? And she's like, oh, hey. And like this time she's way more receptive, and then we talk. And then like, dude, it's not like my game was fed. I was still the same exact person as a week later, but she was like 20 times more receptive, and I got her number that day, right? What changed? Well, she was in a totally different mood that day, right? Like that's the only factor that was different, right? So probably the day that, I saw her at the gym, maybe she just had a really fucking bad day or something like that. So yeah, right place, right time is like such a huge factor.
That's a fact. Worst thing that can happen is rejection, and really all rejection is a lesson for the next encounter. That's facts, bro. Shout out to Man Cave for the super chat. Appreciate that. He says, salute. What's going on, Man Cave? How are you doing, brother? Please say, I be feeling like some of these chicks either scared or men from creeps hitting them up constantly, or they just so socially awkward. Yeah, a lot of women are socially awkward because all they do is talk to motherfuckers online all day. They don't know how to have conversations. They only know how to talk in emojis and shit.
Oh, so true, dude. Some of the hottest girls, like you see a hot girl and you think she's like this perfect flower. In reality, she can be super fucking socially awkward. She could be on 3 different antidepressants, sad, cries every night, like only hangs out with her cats. Like, dude, like a lot of these chicks are socially awkward, yes. And a lot of these chicks do get hit on by a lot of creeps. So they have this like defense shield, right? Because again, like it depends on how you approach her. But say you see her at the grocery store, like chances are most guys that hit on her at the grocery store probably do have shit again, right? They're not like normal, and they probably are weird. Like, this is one of the bigger girls, like almost, why do chicks give guys fake numbers, right? Because they're worried about confrontation. Because, obviously if a girl gives me, it says, hey, listen, I have a boyfriend, I'm not interested in giving you my number, I'm not going to get butthurt. I'm like, okay, cool, nice to meet you, right? Like, it doesn't matter to me. But there are some guys who will be like, well, fuck you. Like, so girls are worried about that. So there's all these factors that you got to like look at it, to kind of get inside a girl's head.
That's facts. Let me ask you, what's your worst fuckery story on some dating shit? Like, I've been in a situation, I made a video about it. I was in bed with this chick, and her fucking baby daddy came in, and we had a fight, bro. And I was mad at myself, bro, because I knew it. It's my spidey sense was ticking. I had sex with her. Fuck.
Did he catch you in the act, or how did that go down?
He had the key still. So I had already and we sleep in the bed and shit. He come through. Before I went to sleep, I was telling myself, get up and go home. It was like 2 a.m. I just finished nutting, so I'm like, damn, I don't feel like doing shit. And I was like, someone just told me, just get up and leave. Went to sleep after fresh off the nut. Then what happens? I gotta have a fucking Street Fighter 2 battle with some fucking asshole. Yeah, man.
Who won the fight?
Huh?
Who won the fight?
I wouldn't say nobody won. We exchanged licks. He caught me first, because that's how he woke me up. Nigga fucking punch me. I was in the bed, bro.
Okay.
And then we had a showdown after that. You know what I mean? And then I had to get my clothes and get up out of there. And it was just you don't never really feel like getting out of there at 3 o'clock in the morning and shit after you finish having sex and taking a nap. That's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, I never understood that reaction. Like, like if, like say I had a wife and or whatever girlfriend, I caught her cheating. Like, it's not like I would hit the girl or something, but like I would blame it on the girl, not the guy. Like the guy's just doing what the guy's gonna do. Like, it's not like I would fucking befriend the guy. I'd be like, dude, just get the fuck out of here. But like, I would be pissed at the girl, not so much the guy, because the guy is doing the same thing I would do in his situation. Like, he's just trying to bust a nut, like you said.
She said, "What's wrong with having cats?"
Nothing. It's good to have some pussy in your life.
Good response. What's up, Michaela?
So your question was, what's the worst? What's the worst? A fucked up hookup story I have?
Yeah.
Dude, I have so many, but one was this chick. Okay, so I was fingering this chick, and she was like harder. I was like, okay, I started going harder. She's like harder, and like, dude, like I start fingering her like in a way that looks like it's not even pleasurable. Then she fucking takes my hand and she literally starts jamming it like inside her fucking whatever, her stomach, like going so hard with my hand. Like, dude, keep in mind, it's literally her. My hand is just the fucking object. She's like fucking, and dude, like I was looking at that, I was like, there's no way this can be pleasurable. But she's like, harder. Like, one of those chicks is just crazy. Like, it just looks like it like didn't look like it was gonna be a good experience. And then literally right after she came, she's like, shit, it hurts. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, it hurts. And then she runs to the bathroom, and then she's in there for like 5 minutes, and then she comes out. She's like, I started my period early. So literally she fingered herself so hard with my hand that she fucking started her period early. Dude, yeah, so I didn't have sex that night. I'm trying to think of other ones, like other fucked up stories I've had.
What about a fuckery story where it was just all bad? Like for me, I remember I went. Well, this isn't my worst one, but it's bad enough for me to think about it without thinking about it. I remember I met this chick at this place called the Air Lounge, and it's a nice little lounge. And I talked to this chick. I thought I was vibing with her. We talked for like 30 minutes and shit. So I'm like, okay, we got a nice little vibe. Exchanged numbers, whatever. Met up with her the next day. Well, no, say if that was Friday. We met up on Sunday for drinks. I get to the fucking place. She got one of her friends with her. I left them both there. I was so offended. She brought one of her friends to the date.
Yeah, that's not cool. She didn't give you any heads up that she was gonna do that?
No, I left her ass there, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, I go to the bathroom, but I cut.
Oh, dude, I have a good story. This happened to my buddy though, but he's a really good friend of mine, and I can confirm this 100% true. So okay, listen to this shit. This is like every guy's worst nightmare. So, dude, my buddy is texting this hot girl. Let's call her Stacy, right? I forget the chick's name. And it's going good, and they're sending pictures and they're sexting, and this chick looks like she's DTF, right? And she says, "Hey, do you want to come meet me at this party, and we can hang out there for a little bit and bounce out afterwards?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So he drives like an hour to this party, right? And so when he's like, "Hey, I just got here." And so she says, "Hey, I actually ran to the grocery store. My buddy's gonna let you inside. My friend is gonna let you inside, and just hang out, have a drink, and wait for me." So he's like, "Okay." So the friend is like a fat gay black guy, right? It's just like this big guy, and it's like very obviously my buddy's like within like 2 minutes. It's so obvious that this guy was trying to fuck me, right? Like he's like, "Come on, have another drink." And my buddy's like, "No, I'm cool. I'm just gonna wait for Stacy," And then he's like, "Come on, no, like, come on, loosen up, like, whatever, have some fun." And so my buddy, and then 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes goes by, and Stacy is not there. And every time he texts her, she's like, 2 more minutes, right? So my buddy then gets this creeping suspicion, this weird feeling in his stomach. So he decides to call Stacy's number. Guess whose phone fucking rings? Yeah, so the guy's phone rings, and then my buddy's like, "Dude, you just catfished me pretending to be this girl, so I drive over here." And then the guy fully denies it. He said, "No, man, you just got too needy. You creeped her out." Fully goes into catfish denial mode. And then my buddy obviously bounces out of there. So dude, how fucked up is that?
It's pretty fucked up. and I ask you that too because guys get the they just go into imaginary mode. They feel like if they get to a point like you or me where they can meet women and slay them, that it's all like fun orgy, sex, good times and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's shit that sometimes happens with women that is just stupid, man. Like just shit. You're like, what the fuck, bro? Or
Oh,
just you know, some even some of the problems women that you meet have. Like they're cool as fuck at first, and you guys are having these good ass conversations, and it's all good. And then once y'all get comfortable, you find out all this fuckery shit you got going on, like all types of drama and insecurity and bullshit.
yeah, man. Actually, I just remembered another good one. You want to hear a hookup where I ended up in the hospital?
Go hit it off.
Oh man, this is. I don't know why I didn't think of this right away. This is a pretty fucking crazy story. It's
What's going
also
on, Q Knox? What's going on, Primal Mindset? Go ahead, bro.
yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Craigslist used to have a casual encounter section, and it was like actually, believe it or not, a really good place to meet girls if you did it right. Like so, the right way to do it was to make an ad yourself, do like the 50 Shades of Grey, and doing that. I met up with so many fucking hot girls while it lasted. Craigslist shut it down 2 years ago.
Hey, hold on. Do a hope because bro, that would look. Let me tell you a secret. Well, it's a public secret. You know what I used to kill at? Craigslist and fucking Yelp, bro. People thought it was a joke. I'd be like, all right, y'all think it's funny, y'all the fucking
Yeah, that's so funny. I have buddies who told me about that. Yeah, but that was like back in the day, right? Like a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that from a few other people. Like, yeah, older guys. They were like guys who are like a little older than me. They were like, yeah, dude, like you fucking kids in your Tinder, like, yo, that's where I was getting pussy, like back in the day, back when you were like still fucking sucking your mama's tits. Yeah, that's funny. But anyway, so you're familiar with Craigslist casual encounters, right? So, this one chick responds to my ad, right? Whatever. It was like a pretty sexual ad, like 50 Shades of Grey type of thing. But it was very like, in no part did I ever say I'm looking to pay for sex, not that I have some kind of moral issue with it. I just don't really need to do it, right? So it was like very, So anyway, so this chick comes over, and we're just sitting there. She kind of gives me a little bit of a weird vibe, like right away. I kind of pick it up, and then she's like, I respond to so many ads, like I don't remember which one you were. I was like, never a good sign. She's like, you're the sugar daddy? I was like, no, I'm not the sugar daddy. She's like, well, so why am I here then? I'm like, because you want to hook up with me or you want to have a drink with me? She's like, well, not for free. I was like, listen, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I don't pay for sex. Like, I think you completely misread my ad. And then she just storms out of my apartment, right? Just totally storms out, right? So at that point, if I was not a total retard at that point, this is when I was like 26, and like I'm still probably too cocky, but at that point I was way too cocky. So she storms out of my apartment, and I just think it's a good idea to troll her over text, right? So I start trolling her, and then she starts threatening me, right? She's like, "Hey, listen, if you don't, give me money. I can't get back to my place because I spent all my gas money driving here, thinking you're gonna pay me money. If you don't give me money, I'm gonna tell the cops to rape me." She says all this over text. I'm like, you fucking retard! Like, you just have proof. You're trying to blackmail me, and I have proof of that. Like how dumb can you be? So we literally I spent like, I don't know, I was just bored that night, man. I was just like overly cocky, so I was just trolling her. I spent like an hour or two just hardcore trolling her, right? Like, I have no intention of like ever meeting up with this girl. I'm just trolling her. And when I go into troll mode, it's kind of funny. Like, honestly, like I like to think that when I don't give a shit troll mode, it's pretty funny. And so I had deluded myself into thinking that my trolling had actually turned her on and won her over, right? So at this point, she was like, listen, she's like, I'm still outside. I've just been smoking cigarettes. And it's like 1 a.m. Like, maybe we should, can we just, have a drink or something and just go from there? And I was just so naive. I thought that, like, I fucking won her over with my expert texting and trolling, whatever. But I didn't want to let her inside my apartment without feeling out the vibe first, because I was, the main thing that concerned me was like the false rape stuff. So I wanted to kind of meet her outside and feel out her vibe, right? So I'm like, okay, like I'll meet you outside, right? We can, I'll bring out some drinks and we can have a drink or two. Right? So I go outside and she's like, yeah, I'm in this parking lot chilling there. That's where my car is. So I'm walking over, I go up to the car, and then this scene is always stuck in the back of my head. I see a fucking chick smoking a crack pipe, right? shady as fuck, right? And then out of the corner of my eye, I see this big ass dude in the back seat. And then it all happens so fast. He literally jumps out of the back seat. I take a step back, and he just comes out swinging, and he just fucking sucker punches me like straight in my left eye. And at that point, I'm going around. At this point, I'm going off the security footage because I kind of blacked out. So I go down, and then when I'm on the ground, apparently he just full on like fucking soccer kicks me right in the face. I mean, I could have gotten seriously hurt. I mean, but anyway, so then a minute later, I return to consciousness, right? And I'm just really pissed off. I'm like, motherfucker sucker punched me, like fucking shit, like fuck. Pissed at myself, pissed at the situation. So I'm like, fuck. So I'm just like, I go inside my apartment, and my roommate sees me. He's like, dude, he's like, what the fuck? I'm like, what? He's like, look at your face. And I look in the mirror. I'm just bleeding profusely, bro, like blood everywhere. And I'm like, shit. He's like, dude, you got to go to the hospital right now. Like, you're going to fucking die. So I go to the hospital. I think it's an exaggeration. I wouldn't have died. I go to the hospital. They stitch me up. And then, there's a cop that sees, he was there, whatever. And he comes over. He's like, hey, man, like, clearly you got into a fight, like, what happened? So I'm like, whatever. So I just tell him what happened. I had no intention of actually going to the police, but since the police were there, I told them the story. And then, because these guys were so dumb, that actually in the email she sent me, I saw her Facebook, and I was able, and she used her real name, so I was able to show the cop her Facebook. And then, guess who was her fucking boyfriend on Facebook? The guy who sucker punched me. So long story short, a few months later, they caught them, and the guy did 4 years, and the chick did 6 months.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, that's talk about a hookup gone bad.
My man DeAndre says, I'm 19, about to move to Miami on my own. Do you have any advice on living on your own in Miami specifically?
Yeah. So I would say in terms of areas, Brickell is a good area. Like if you can afford it, I would recommend Brickell. Miami's big on like what area you live in. So Brickell, it's gonna have a cool scene. Coral Gables is okay, but I don't recommend South Beach. I think a lot of people move to Miami and they think South Beach is the best. I actually don't really recommend it. It's all touristy, and like unless you're super into clubs, I just don't think it's the best place to live. Just in general living, I mean, yeah, man, like try to focus on your career. All the stuff I said earlier. You're legit. Focus on career. Miami's a very superficial city, so put on some muscle. Bust out the dating apps, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. Do a little day game, shit like that.
What's funny is the first time that I went to Miami, I didn't know the difference between Miami and South Beach. So I got a hotel on Miami Beach, bro.
Everyone does that. Everyone, when they come to Miami, they think South Beach.
Man, it was dry as fuck. I was like, me and my boy laughed to this day. We was like, yeah, remember we were staying in the Scarface Hotel, bro. This hotel, the little hotel looked just like the Scarface when they came with the chainsaw and they did the jack move. It was a hotel just like that. Like, yeah, remember we was in Miami in the Scarface Motel?
Yeah, I remember that.
In Miami, wearing masks is pretty bad. I heard it is pretty bad out there in Miami.
Yes and no. I mean, honestly, Miami's a huge party city. So generally speaking, the people here give a shit a lot less. Like, for example, no one gives a shit about politics in Miami, right? It's just like not a political city. It's not like, it's mostly a party city. So on average, I would say the chicks here like give a shit less than, most girls. Like, for example, I've had no problem getting girls over during this time. The downside is like a lot of places are closing at 10 o'clock. So you can still go out. Like, dude, I went out like 8 o'clock today and like the city, it was packed. But then like everything has to close at 10 o'clock. So after that, it's mostly like private parties.
How is it now from the quarantine and shit? Like, I mean, from the COVID, like, how is it? Like, how has it changed? Like, I be watching. I don't know if you know Myron Gaines, but he's in Miami.
Yeah, I know him. That's funny. I know him pretty well. I actually saw him today at the gym.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me and him. We go to the same gym.
That's what's up. I did Myron's first interview. We go back from the beginning and shit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't know you knew him, but yeah, he's a buddy of mine. I've seen him numerous times. I've gone out with him and shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, sometimes he shows the city and it looks like it's shut down, and then sometimes it looks like it's regular and shit when I watch his stories.
Yeah. It's weird because they're closing shit early. So like if you go out at 9 o'clock, it looks like the city's totally normal. If you go out at 11 o'clock, it looks like it's totally shut down, or like even 10 o'clock. So it just depends on what time you go out. But I think they're gonna. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do this much longer. I think that they're gonna lift this 10 o'clock thing pretty soon because this is just. It's not sustainable. It's so fucking dumb. It's a joke. Like I think that it's only a matter of time before Miami opens up completely.
You think it's gonna open up this year?
Oh, dude, 100%. I think there's so much pressure, on politicians to open it up. Like, dude, because first of all, businesses are losing money, right? Like, if you're a bar, you can't be profitable if you have to close at 10 o'clock. That's when people fucking go out. Miami is like 30% of the economy is tourism, right? Like, it's a city that lives on bars and like fucking nightlife. They can't afford this shit. Like, that's where taxes come from. That's where people make their livelihood. And all the people, who are employed by the hospitality industry, like, they're fucking bleeding so much money right now. Yeah, they have to. They really have no choice.
How was it at first when the quarantine hit? Because remember that was like a big deal. Like, what am I gonna do now? Did it work in your benefit, or was it worse? Like, was it hard to hook up with chicks or easier? I would assume it was easier.
So when it first started, it was harder because the whole thing was so new, and all the chicks were freaking out, and everyone was like, like, no, like, we can't leave the house, we're gonna die, blah blah blah. And I was like, yo, 0.02% death rate. Calm the fuck down, woman. But like, yes, at first it was, but then after a month, like, it just became like, chicks were like, okay, you know what, like, okay, I'll tell my booty call, right? One of my main booty calls. She was, super smart girl, super logical, super rational. But even she was like, when it first started, she was like, Alex, like, my mom is staying with me. She's a little older. Like, I like you. I want to see you, but I don't want to jeopardize her health. So I'm not going to leave my apartment. After a month, she was like, yeah, I'm just going to leave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just gets to a point where it's like, okay, like, no one's dying. No one that I know is dying. So, after a month or two, it just kind of became a lot easier. But in terms of business, COVID has been great, because, yeah, sounds selfish, but, day game, night game are pretty much dead. So online game is one of the only options. So that leads to a lot of people watching my channel and buying my product and all that.
I seen on the Instagram, it looked like you were doing a seminar. You do seminars down there?
No, that was the picture you saw. That was in Poland 2.5 years ago. That was a while ago. I did actually have plans to host a conference in October, but it's going to have to be pushed back because of the COVID shit.
Oh yeah, what was going to be like a boot camp? How are you going to do it?
Oh, dude. So I'll once I have the details, I'll definitely let you know all about it. You should definitely come and be one of the speakers. But basically, what I want to do is I want to get like the top guys in the community, right? And it doesn't have to be just purely pickup, like self improvement in general, and just throw an awesome fucking conference. Like, I want the ticket price to be pretty cheap so every guy can afford it. I want to just offer a lot of value, right? Get like hundreds of people, get the whole thing on video. And I don't want it to be, how like the problem with a lot of conferences is the fucking organizers like steal all the money and shit.
All right. No, I'm saying right. I feel you.
That's like pretty much every conference. Like, oh, the organizers like took all the money. So I want the money, like every single dollar that gets made from ticket sales is put in a pot, and after expenses are covered, like, you just split it evenly amongst all speakers, like to create like incentive for guys to actually come down. That's the big issue because a lot of guys in the community, for example, they want to have a lot of value to offer, but they can't afford to fly across the world and lose money. Like, they're not getting paid, and they have to pay for flights and hotels. It's not a good bargain. So I want to change that to really make it like financially affordable for everyone and make it just like an awesome experience. I'm thinking about doing it in Colombia, actually.
That'll be dope, bro. What, next year?
Dude, as soon as the COVID shit ends, because it has to be like right now, there's a lot of restrictions on flying internationally and shit like that. When all that goes away, like as soon as that happens, maybe a month after that, yeah.
My man RPC, where did he go? Did he go to Colombia or did he go to Dominican Republic? He just came back from one. I think it was Dominican Republic he just went to.
DR is mad cool too, but I think in terms of a conference, Colombia would be a lot better. But DR is a cool place. I've been there a few times.
I think you. That's an excellent idea. I was thinking of doing some shit like that too. So the fact that you just said that and I didn't tell you that means it's a good fucking idea.
Dude, great minds think alike. But yeah, man, I think that I've seen like a lot of people do conference, but I see so many issues with most of the pickup conference that I see, like, kind of the things I mentioned. And also like nepotism is really bad. So people get in, like every single speaker of this conference has to be someone that knows what the fuck they're talking about. There's not gonna be any nepotism. Like, you don't get to speak just because you're friends with my friend or something like that. So that's like another big issue at most conferences. You have speakers who like you know, like are like borderline virgins and shit. Like, why are you telling me about pickup? Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, so that's going to be like another key component of this.
I'm glad that you mentioned the thing about the money too, because people don't realize, like, you know, I do YouTube and I get money from YouTube, doing consultations and Patreon and, you know, different shit, whatever. But sometimes things are just for your brand. People don't realize that. Like, people always want to do something, get paid, do something, get paid. Like, you know, like, you don't want to run off with it's a good look. Like, for you to organize some shit and for it to be successful, you'll get paid heavy on round 2. You don't have to make a super profit on the first round. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I'm not gonna make any money directly from this. I'm gonna make money indirectly because it's gonna significantly grow my brand. And then when I do it the following year, it's gonna be like a hot thing. Like if I do a really good job the first year, right? Say the first year we get 200 people or 100 people, right? Whatever. I think that's even ambitious right there because it's gonna be the first time doing it. If it's a good job, they tell all their friends next year we're gonna have like 400 people. You know what I mean?
Video too. They're gonna see like the video, like you probably.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's a good. Everything is gonna be videotaped. Like get professional videographers videotape everything so that like you know we can post this. Everyone can post this on their YouTube channels, so they're able to like add value.
Mm-hmm. It'll make people want to be a part of it. I mean, that's how all movement people see. People don't never see the back history. Like, you know, there's different conventions. Like, they all started with the first one, bro, and the first one was always smaller. People don't. That's how things grow. People not willing to put in the work and see where things go. They want it right now. I think that's a major problem that men have. You know what I mean? Even men dating, like a lot of men, I think aren't hooking up with chicks because their vibe is too thirsty. You know what I mean? Like a woman kind of like can pick up on it and know she can jerk you and shit. You know?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like it takes it takes time to get like return on your investment. That's like why a lot of people don't go to the gym, right? Because like if you know a lot of the guys who are like overweight or really skinny, they realize they're not like delusional. They know that they're in bad shape. But it's not like they can go to the gym tomorrow and the following day, they're in good shape, right? It doesn't work like that. It takes months, sometimes years of work, right? So people hate the idea of like, okay, I have to wait a while to actually see any of the work I'm doing for it to pay off.
Mm-hmm. When you meet chicks, what do you tell them that you do?
I straight up tell them I'm a sex and dating coach.
And how do they react to that?
Usually positively. The responses run the gamut, but most of the time.
Do they usually ask you off the top, or do you kind of like try to withhold it? But if they ask you, tell them.
I don't hide it. I don't brag about it either. So I don't like fucking like, oh, by the way, you know what I do? Like I don't do that. But most of the time, like you know what I actually think is an observation. Like if you're talking to a girl for a while and she never asks you what you do, she's either a very unique person or she's not really that into you. Like usually if a chick is into you, she's going to ask, what do you do? Especially if you're like a little older, like you're over 25. Like maybe if you're in college, that doesn't apply. But if you're like over 25 and you're talking to a girl and she never asks you, what do you do? I don't think she's really that into you the majority of the time. So it's like a little observation. But yeah, I as soon as, quite often girl asks me, like, so what do you do for work? I'll be like, I'm a sex and dating coach. Sometimes I'll build it up. I'm like, do you really want to know? Mm-hmm. Sure you want to know? She's like, yeah, why? Is it something illegal? I'm like, no, it's totally legal. She's like, and usually, what girls always think? They're like, you're important, aren't you? I'm like, I'm flattered, but no, I'm not important. Like, it's usually the assumption girls always make.
That's the code word for porn?
They're like, you're in porn. I'm like, no, I wish. So I tell them sex and dating coach, and usually they just have a lot of questions.
I think that will that actually is kind of good, because if a woman has high interest for you, and then you tell her that you're a sex and dating coach, the sex part she's gonna feel that, so she's gonna automatically be like, if he's teaching sex, then the sex is good. That's the subliminal right there.
Yes, 100%. Also, they feel more comfortable. So I found that when I tell girls what I do, they instantly become comfortable opening up and telling me about their sex issues or observations. She's like, wait, why do guys do blah, 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 blah? They have, because they see me almost as like a professional, right? So at that point, they just become very comfortable, just like opening up sexually. Whereas, maybe if I didn't tell her that, it would take me like half an hour and 2 drinks for her to get to that point. So it's like a nice little cheat code.
You know what? I'm gonna try it
Dude,
because
you definitely should.
yeah, because I mean, technically, I have both of those stats too, but I've never presented it like that. But the next time I meet a chick, I'm gonna tell her I'm gonna be serious as fuck too. Like, oh, I'm a sex and relationship coach. I'm gonna make sure I say sex first too.
Yeah, dude. Like honestly, like for a long time, I was telling girls that I was, oh, I do marketing. Like, oh, what's this? Oh, just general marketing. Like I would beat around the bush. I would never tell them because I was worried about bad reactions. I thought my mind, for a while was if I tell a girl exactly what I do, most of the time she's going to get turned off and she's not going to be into it. Right? That was just this, false belief that I carried for a while. And then I remember there was one day that changed that. So it was my old girlfriend, Maria. We were, I was dating her for like 3-4 months, and I hid what I did from her. And I really liked this chick, so I was like really nervous. I remember one day, it got to the point where she was basically like living with me. So like I had to tell her, like I couldn't really hide anymore, right? And I'll give her credit. She was never like too pushy or anything like that, but I could tell she didn't really buy, my general explanation. So one day I was like sat her down and I was so nervous. I was like preparing for like worst case scenarios. Okay, if she completely flips out, this is what I'm gonna do. If she kind of freaks out, that's what I'm gonna do. So I had all these like contingency plans, and then I tell her, and she's like, "Holy shit, that's awesome!" And that was like the one situation I did not prepare for at all. I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, that sounds so cool. Can I help?" I'm like, "You can be in one of my videos?" Like, she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love that." I'm like, holy shit. And that day completely changed my mindset. So then I just started playing around with telling girls who I just meet, telling girls on Tinder. And dude, it's like overwhelmingly the reaction is positive.
That's dope. See, I'm always looking to learn because I'm for sure try that too. And I already know that, but see, I'm very sarcastic and shit. So I'm going to say it. I'm already practicing it. I'm going to say it like I'm not really for real with it just to see where I can take it. That's how I'm gonna do my first presentation with it. So I'm gonna put it out there, and she gonna think I'm playing. And instead of just saying it and her confirming it, I'm gonna say it in a way that she gonna be wondering what that is really, and she wants to know if I'm for real or not. And I'm gonna dance with that shit for a little bit. I'm gonna dance with that whole little topic for at least 5 minutes. I got to keep it going.
Because then they want to test your claims. Like, oh, is he really the best? Like they become curious. Like, well, if he's a sex and dating coach, is he going to be the best like lover I've ever had?
Mm-hmm. Plus, it's my way. I don't know if you do this, but we can just trade strategies. So one thing I do is shit like that because I be wanting to test how intelligent a woman is, bro. If a woman doesn't really get humor and wit and shit, you see, if you date a lot of girls, you realize usually smart, intelligent chicks get that type of shit. Like regular chicks, even if they look like good, if a chick can't get like little witty humor and shit, usually she's not all the way there. You know what I mean? She can't really keep up. You know what I mean? So I be kind of just like, for instance, when I text, I don't always put question marks at the end. I want to.
Dude, I do that. That's so funny. I do that too. I actually teach that in my product.
Yep, I just leave it open statements because I want to pick up on their awareness and shit. And a lot of times chicks fail. And I'd be like, it'll turn me the fuck off. I might not verbally say it to them, but I'd be like, oh, that's a stupid one.
Dude, I do the same thing. I just do it for a different reason than you. So you do it to kind of test women. I actually do it because one of my mindset is this. I try to think of when I was really trying to learn text game and game in general, I was trying to think, what would Leonardo DiCaprio or like a really high value guy do in the situation? And basically the conclusion I came to is that like a super high value guy like Dan Bilzerian and Leonardo DiCaprio, they're so busy, they don't even have time for question marks. They don't even have time for exclamation points. So that was kind of my mindset. And so that's why I completely took out, like, I occasionally had to drop question marks, but like mostly I tell guys not to use question marks.
What do you think about emojis? You fuck with it or not? I hear guys say don't fuck with it. I fuck with it. But you know what? Let me just clarify. It depends, bro. Me personally, I don't interact with all women the same. Now, it's not me being fake or nothing like that, but what I'm saying is 2 women can fuck with me and go on a date, and if they talked about it, they may have different shit to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So here's my take on that. You know, when you're learning something, you're trying to get good at something, then you have to like really understand the rules. But when you truly master something, then you can purposely break and bend the rules in your favor. So generally, if a guy is just getting into text game, I tell him not to use emojis, right? Like I tell him generally speaking, because the vast majority of guys are overdoing it on emojis. Like they're using way too many emojis. A lot of a lot of the stuff in my product and the stuff I teach, it wasn't like I just pulled this out of my ass. Like I got a lot of feedback from, chicks I was hooking up with, other girls. Like I did a lot of research, leading up to my product, right? Like, for example, I created a profile as a girl to see what openers guys were using. Like there's a lot of research involved in all of this. And,
I told, bro, I did the same thing, but same thing, but for a different reason. I made up a fake profile just to see how thirsty dudes was, and I was overwhelmed by the response.
So thirsty, right?
But I love that you just said that. See, that's just putting in the work. So he's taking time, bro. You see, guys, they want you to tell them these magic lines and shit. So basically, you just said that you create a fake profile just to see what the opposition deals with. That's fire boss game right there. That's getting the way upper hand. People don't think to do shit like that. I can respect it, bro, because I'm slick like that too. But I just want to point it out. I ain't the only one doing slick shit. That's some boss shit. Like, and somebody may think, oh, that's stupid. Why are you doing all that? Bro, do you realize how effective you are when you know this shit? It's like you're looking through the YouTube analytics. You're looking through the dating app analytics, fellas.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, like when I was like my product took me over a year to create, right? I mean, that's not to say I was writing for a whole year, but there was like a lot of research and trial and error and just a lot because I wanted all this stuff to be not just true for me, but universally true, right? So I had to make sure that the stuff I was teaching works for other people. And, when I started, so anyway, there's a lot of that involved, a lot of research, a lot of like running it by girls. But so anyway, so make a long story short, a big feedback a lot of girls has was that a lot of guys just overuse emojis, right? They're just like using too many emojis, kind of comes off feminine. That being said, when you get good at text game, you get to a point where you can logically evaluate where an emoji will actually add value. So I personally use emojis when I need to soften something. So if I'm going to send a text where I feel like it's so like bald that the girl could take it the wrong way, or she just might get like almost triggered by it, or I need to like soften it a little bit. That's when I send emojis.
I like that. You can kind of train a woman by emojis too, bro. If you because it's another language, but women put it like this. If the woman you date is used to you putting 5 emojis after you say shit, if you put 3, she'll fucking notice that shit.
Yeah.
She'll be like, "What the fuck is up?" She might not even tell you, but she'll feel it like, "Oh,
yeah." Girls are very good to like small shit. Yo, do you ever like girls' messages? Just hit the like button on iPhone.
Oh yeah.
Dude, this was like a revelation I had a few months ago. So I remember there was one chick who I was texting, and she would always like my messages, right? So instead of responding, she would just like the last thing I said. And I remember it drove me fucking crazy because I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you're just liking my message. Is that yes? Is that no? Can we talk like real fucking human beings? And then I was like, wait, if this is the feeling that this gives me, what would happen if I do to other girls? And I found that, for example, if a girl gives me like an answer that I don't really want, it's like, let's say I tell a girl, hey, we should get together sometime soon. She says, yeah, let me check my schedule. Right? Like that's not really, I want to hear like, yeah, cool. When are you free? Or like, yeah, how about tomorrow night? Like, or, I say, hey, you free Monday or Tuesday evening? And she's like, let me get back to you. Like something that like isn't whatever, anything that is basically not exactly what I want to hear. I'll just simply like her last message. And I found like over 50% of the time, within an hour, the girl will double text me and just like fucking say like, actually, I just checked my schedule. Yes, that's good. Like, dude, it drives them fucking crazy. Because the same way it was doing for me. And another thing I noticed is when a chick sends you like a picture of herself and you just want to also kind of like fuck with her head a little bit, just like that picture.
Yeah, I don't acknowledge it. To be honest with you, bro, when I'm dating and shit, and women send me news and shit like that, and I don't ask them, they lose a point for that. I won't tell them that, but I'd be like, I won't acknowledge it. Like, oh, did you see my titties? Oh, yeah. So, anyways, how was work? Like, I don't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, I sort of know what you mean. You know, like a lot of guys will always ask me, "Can you make a video on how to get nudes from girls?" And I always say, "Dude, like you're asking the wrong guy because I like to see that shit in real life. Like I don't. There's no point in my game where I'm trying to get nudes because I don't care about that. Like to me, it's not that I'm opposed to nudes. Like fuck, show me your titties, whatever. But like,
I just like to be the one to suggest it.
I actually never even suggest nudes, honestly, because I just don't care. Like I'd rather just see her naked in real life and make a porno on my phone. Like I just don't care about her nudes that much. Like there's so much free porn on the internet. Like, you know, like I don't know why some guys are so fucking obsessed on getting nudes.
What's the percentage you think when you deal with chicks? What's the percentage that you that women are down for the porn shit? If you want it to be, like, you know how women, I'd never get down like that. Like, what's the percentage of women who you meet? If you whip the camera out, they don't really trip.
Depends on how you present it and how much they trust you. So if we're talking about a girl who's your booty call, who you've maybe seen 4 or 5 times, or a girl who you've seen on the first night, it depends how you go about it. But if you go about it correctly and you build some trust, I think you can get like at least like 50% of girls to be down with it.
That it like shows how much women like sex. Because even like, you know, I don't have any kids, but what I'm saying, like I be telling guys, like women will let you hit raw, bro. Like it's a lot of times it's me initiating to go get the rub thing. You think the women just they get all hot and they be ready for you, bro. You know what I mean? Like I don't know,
for sure.
like they be willing to get down and shit. Women ain't as safe and shit and sacred as guys think that they are.
You know what kind of my mindset is? If a girl, it's a little bit like hypocritical, but whatever. If a chick is wants me to hit her raw, then that's the kind of chick I want to wear a condom with. But if a chick really doesn't want to fuck raw and she's focused on me wearing the condom, then it's probably a much safer bet for me to fuck her raw.
My man Primal Mindset has a question. He says, in this world where Tommy is canceling boys, do y'all think texting game is pointless since you can get trapped into being a pimp? I'm not gonna get trapped in that. That's
what is Tommy? What's Tommy?
You know it's that news shit where it's that news commentator and she was bashing men and shit and it was like a trending topic.
No, I've never seen that.
Let me see. It's like a trending thing, like Donovan Sharp, like people are covering it. Like she's an analyst. She was just talking shit about dudes and shit. But you know, it's the same thing you hear, but it's just different when you hear like a TV chick saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I honestly, this is one of the advantages of not having a TV. It's just I fucking miss all that bullshit that is not gonna fucking help me get ahead. But anyway, to answer the question, do you think texting game is pointless since you can get trapped into being a pen pal beta opera? That's like saying, do you think cold approach is pointless because the chick can reject you or she might have a boyfriend? Do you think that having a business is pointless because you can go bankrupt because of something? That's like that type of question. Do you think that like fucking working out is pointless because you can risk injury? It's like sure, of course that can happen. But most of the often, if you have a good text game, it's not going to happen. Just like if you use proper form, most often you're not going to get injured in the gym. So you should work out. If you follow, again, you can do everything right and fuck up your business. But generally speaking, if you play really smart in the business world, you will succeed, right? So it's like, sure, it could happen, but just because something could happen, it's not a reason for me not to engage in activity.
I want to show you real quick, just so you can just, because it's. Since you won't watch it on your own, we'll just see. I'm gonna play a video from the roommates. I don't know if you know them, but the reason why I'm doing that is so the video won't get flagged because that's somebody else. So which one is this? Tommy? Okay, let me see. There we go. And then you tell me. To me, I wasn't surprised. To be honest, I wasn't surprised. Because I'm in a situation where women talk that shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I've heard women say shit like this before, but It was just shocking because of who she is.
You guys already done seen this thumbnail. You know we finna go ahead and get into it. I personally did not want to do this video, but everybody on Patreon kept on hitting me up.
You see it?
Telling me to do this video, so I decided to do so. Honestly, I did not know this girl was still relevant. I didn't know anyone was checking for her. I didn't know anyone who cared. And I really didn't myself. But I felt like this would be a great teachable moment to be able to instruct not only men and women about the realities of people's dating issues. So let's go ahead and watch her. I'm going to show you guys the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of her rant, and then we'll jump into my dissection of her video. Let's get to it.
This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, I mean, tan, super white, super pale. I mean, these women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be men. It is not just
God, I fucking hate this girl.
Dallas, and it's not, they're not any better in the Midwest. They, quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about
you versus us mindset.
Women out there that I know that are my good friends.
Don't fucking know.
Amazing jobs, who work really hard, but who can't seem to find a decent guy, even if they go up in age 5 to 10 to 15 years, because those guys all want to be with 21-year-olds who have nothing going on.
Because clearly the problem is one of the sexes. It's just men. It's not women. There's nothing women can do better. The problem is just men. This is the same equivalent as when a guy's like the bitter fucking, you know, red pill or whatever, black pill, whatever that can, the insult community, when they're like, the problem is just women, you know. Yes, it has nothing to do with you. There's nothing you can improve. The problem is just women, you know, like same exact shit. It's so fucking stupid. Like such a simplistic way of looking at complex social issues. That's like fucking Democrats saying the problem is just Republicans. Republicans say the problem is just Democrats. You know, it's like you take complex issues and you fucking try to make it you versus them.
That's funny. Yeah, like when she said that, it was a big ass deal 2 days ago. I decided not to cover it though, but a lot of people
covering it just gives her attention. I think that's the last thing we should be doing. Like fucking ignore her. Like let her go fucking suck a dick.
Facts. DeAndre Jones says, what are ways to improve social charisma and charm?
So my take on that is I would say a big part of it is just getting more confident in yourself. So it's not like you have to really learn something new. It's just you have to unwind all the things that are keeping you from being like the best version of yourself. It sounds kind of hippy dippy, but that's really what it comes down to. So, just getting to a point where you feel very comfortable, like expressing yourself, you know, expressing your humor. Like I've always had, like you guys can sure have noticed, I've kind of fucked up sense of humor, right? It's not like I'm just like this with the guys. I'm like this with everyone, girls, my family, whatever. Usually I'm fucking worse. So like I had to just, you know, growing up, I thought that, I have to control myself, you know, like, you know, my humor is too weird. Like, you know, people are going to judge me. And then when I was able to let go of that and just get to a point where I just don't give a shit, I just fully express myself, you know, I became a lot funnier and a lot more entertaining to be around. Like my people who've known me all my life, they're like, you know what? Like, have you gotten funnier? Because you didn't used to be this funny. I'm like, no, I'm just like, give a shit less now. You know, that's the only thing that's changed. It's not like I've been working on being funny or something. So just, you have to get to a point where you're just very comfortable expressing yourself. And also just, you have to develop your social intuition, which you develop from just going out, interacting with people. For example, I did sales for 3 years, right? You know, I think we talked about this last time, or I forget who I talked about this with, but I did sales for 3 years. So that forced me to really develop like a very strong social spidey sense. So doing shit like that.
Right. Problem Mindset says she states that women don't want to be pen pals and text. She also states that she wants men to lead with plans, which I agree with. that's what reaffirms my belief that texting should be limited.
So I think that's so we're kind of going back into what I was mentioning earlier. When you get good, something can break the rules. So I do agree that with the premise that a lot of guys do chit chat to no end, and they never go for the meetup, they never close. So yes, that is very common, and that does happen, and that's not a good game. That being said, I think some guys go to the other extreme and think that, if I ask her how her day is going, that's going to make me her pen pal, and that's going to, it actually, for example, if you're chatting with a girl, you have plans with her, and say the date is like 4 days from now, right? So in 4 days, she might forget about you. So it's actually a pretty good idea for you to check in with her a little bit here and there, and maybe on Tuesday say, hey, how'd your day go? Like, girls fucking love that shit. Like, and I'm not pulling this out of my ass. I've talked to numerous girls about this, and that's going to keep her more invested, and that's going to reduce the likelihood of her flaking on the date, right? So again, like, say you match with a girl on Bumble. If you go for the meetup right away, some girls who are really, horny that night will bite on that, but most girls will just be like, yeah, I don't know, right? So there's a happy balance there, and you don't want to like think in extremes. Usually the right decision, right approach is somewhere in the middle. It's not texting too much. It's not texting not at all. It's like somewhere in the middle where you're texting just the right amount.
What do you feel, and what are some strategies about using humor in game? How do you feel about that first?
Dude, honestly, like that's a huge fucking part of my game. If you told me, Alex, I have a challenge for you. You can't use any humor in your game over text or in person for 30 days. Dude, you're going to watch my pussy fucking success plummet. That's like a huge component of my game. But that's honestly just because that's part of my personality. I know people who are not funny, and for them, using humor will just come off as like fake. So I think you got to like really use your strengths, whatever things you're good at. One thing I'm really bad at is like emotional connection. I'm just like very, I don't know, like awkward with my emotions. Like if I have to really, I have a hard time trusting opening up to people, right? So I need to really know a girl before I feel comfortable like sharing, deep stuff. So that's not a part of my game at all. My game is purely like attraction based, right? It's not like emotional connection based. But I know people who, for example, are, very good at like opening up and expressing their emotions. So for them, that's a huge part of their game. So I think you got to rely on your strengths and, minimize your weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm like that too, bro. Also focus on self-improvement. You become a killer when you can use it. Yeah, I mean, I use humor too, man. You know when it's really effective, bro, is when you don't really give a fuck about the outcome.
Oh yeah, that's when you're the funniest.
Mm-hmm. Like I love people who are funny that don't try to be. Those are the funniest people to me.
Oh, dude, exactly. Yep. It's like when someone's trying too hard to be funny, usually it's just kind of like, it gives a weird vibe. You're like, okay.
Yeah, I like dry humor. Like, I remember Napoleon Dynamite, they used to be like, I like that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Super bad. 40,
so
I like those kind of comedy.
You like the show?
Adam Sandler. I don't like all that Will Ferrell. I like the witty dry. Is that
you like Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
Uh-huh. Primo said, I'm on the intense side, like sex while camping. He's super intense and shit. When you're dating and you're out, like, do you kind of like all the time automatically know when it's time to like be assertive and not, or is it that you don't really give a fuck?
When if it's a girl who I'm seeing or just a random date?
A random chick, like, you know what I'm saying? If you just feel like, if you just feeling good, you say you just made 10 bands today and you feeling real fly, you rented a fucking car and shit. The company gave you a Lamborghini for the day and you just got some money and you got your hair on point. And you might just be feeling like a fucking boss, like get your ass in, like, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm more on the laid back side. That's just like kind of my personality. So I have to actually consciously remind myself to be a little bit more assertive. But my personality is like very laid back. I think that's changed throughout the years. Like now I've gotten more assertive as I've gotten older. But generally speaking, I'm chill and I lead, So like, I'm like, let's get out of here. Time to go back to my place and have a big old glass of wine. Let's go. But yeah, that's kind of like my style.
Right. Do you like, how do you feel about like getting married and settling down and shit?
First of all, I think you can settle down without getting married. So I think guys often tie those two together. But honestly, what is marriage? It's just a legally binding contract that chances are is going to work against you if you're a man, right? Like that contract is not something that's to your advantage unless the chick makes more money than you, right? But the majority of relationships, the guy makes most of the money and the girl, whatever. Again, if the girl makes more money than you, that's a different story. But I'm going to take those situations out of the equation. So in that situation, that contract is not going to be beneficial for you. It's going to be beneficial for the girl, right? So I don't think you should push for that because it's something that's not in your favor. I think that you can settle down with a girl, you can live together, be exclusive without getting married. But it's probably something I'm going to want to do later on in life. I don't think though I'm going to get married. Like I just don't see, like I can see myself being exclusive, monogamous, and living with a girl. But marriage, I just don't see what that brings to the table. Like, why do we want the government to come in and like put rules on our relationship, right? Like if we separate, I have to give you 50% of my money. Like, why do we want that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. How old are you again?
I'm 30 now.
30. So did life teach you this? Did you watch other people? Like, where did you get the mindset to where you're like, why the fuck would I get married? Like, what got you like that?
Dude, just watching people who I know got married and they got miserable divorces. And like, I'm like, why did you guys even get married? Like, you guys had a good thing going. Why didn't you just keep hanging out, living together?
What would you say to dudes who've been with their like dudes who are with their baby mama for hella years, right? So how do they avoid that with those type of situations where they're dealing with a woman for maybe 5 to 10 years? And he doesn't really want to get married, but she's putting that pressure on, like, hey, it's been 7 years. When's it going to happen? Like, what do you say for guys? Because I know plenty of guys.
So we're talking about when there's a kid in the picture, or like when you say baby mom, there's a kid, right, in the picture?
No, yeah, kid, like relationship. You in a relationship and you have a kid, but you just didn't put a ring on it yet.
So I would say to her, like, I would sit down with her and be like, listen, like,
but why the pressure's heavy though. I don't mean like she just asked you once. I mean, it's getting.
Yeah, no, I got you. I'm a big proponent of like, dude, every girlfriend I've ever had, like, I've sat down with them, had so many talks with them. Like, listen, like, I've gotten really good at like changing girls' beliefs about shit. I'll be like, so I would sit down and be like, listen, like, I really like you. You know that, right? She's like, yeah, of course. So why do you feel the need for us, like kind of just the way I explained to you, I'd be like, why do you feel the need to have the government come in and tell us what we can and can't do in our relationship, right? Are you not happy with what we have? No, of course I'm happy, but I just feel like we should get married. Okay, but why? Like, really? She's like, well, it's what everyone does. Like, well, if everyone was jumping off a bridge, would you do it? Like, again, I'll just kind of use a lot of that kind of logic. Like, right. Listen, like, we don't want the government coming into our relationship. Like, I don't see how that's going to add to what we have. I think that, instead of wasting money on a marriage and this whole ceremony, you and I should maybe take a nice vacation together. I just do a lot of like reframing and shit like that.
Right.
But if you are a guy, the only reason I might consider marriage would be if the girl is someone who I can, like, I've dated her for years, we've lived together, I can really vouch for her, I have no doubt about her intentions. And the reason she wants to get married is because that's what her family. So if she comes from a conservative background, and for example, her mom is like really Catholic, and for them it's like a big thing. If it's a family thing, that's the only thing I can understand. And at that point, I might consider it if there's a prenup involved. But I would never get married without a prenup.
What about kids?
You can have kids without being married. I mean, I would say, listen, like, we can have like, what do I think about having kids? I think people do it way too young. But maybe like when I'm in my 40s or 50s, I would, I'd want to have a kid. Definitely don't want to have a kid now.
Right. I got one more question for you, bro. It's a two-part question, and it kind of segues from that.
All right.
What do you feel are the benefits of dating young chicks, and what are the benefits of dating? Well, the benefits, the pros and the cons of dating younger women, like say 21 to 26, and then as far as the older chicks from maybe 28 to 35.
That's so funny. 28 to 35 is older chicks. When I think older, I think like 40 to 48 or something like that.
Oh, but, well, if you got it like that, speak on it. So what do you think? You pick anyone you want first.
All right. Let's start off with the younger chicks. So we'll do pros and cons. It's a really good question. So pros with the younger chicks is they have this young energy, right? Like, it almost like keeps you like it keeps you young yourself. Like they have this young energy. Like these, this 18, 19-year-old girls I'm dating, they're telling me about the social stuff I have no idea about, like fucking TikTok. I'm like, what the fuck is TikTok? That's like a young kid thing, right? So like it gives you that like young energy, keeps you like tied to the world. Like this is one of the big things I believe is that there should be an age restriction on being a president. You shouldn't be allowed to be president if you're like over 55, right? Because you lose touch with the world. You know what I mean? When you're too old, you just slowly lose touch. And it's not to say that we're that old, but like again, we're not 18, 19. So like like these younger girls kind of keep you like tied to like like the young generation, like the soul of like of life, right? That's what I would say. That's one of the pros. The downside, another pro is I would say that these young chicks, they don't want to settle down. Like, so they're much more cool with being booty calls. And that's not, some older chicks are cool with it as well. But like younger chicks, they're more like, they don't have that pressure for you to like settle down with them. Again, there's so many older girls who won't do that either. But we're talking about like generally speaking. The disadvantages with the young girls, they're fairly irresponsible. So they're much more inclined to flake. They're much more inclined to be late. They're just more irresponsible. They're gonna do more responsible shit, which we all did when we were younger. So it's not like I can even judge them. Now the advantages with an older chick is that they're much more like reliable and they have their shit together much more. Like if you're hooking up with a 35-year-old, chances are she's not gonna flake on you. If you have plans, she's gonna be there on time. Like you can count on her for shit. Like if you're going out of town, you can count on her to walk your dog, shit like that. They're just much more reliable. They also are at a point where they're not going to be like, I just don't like fucking clubs. I'll always like, if a chick's like, come to a club, I'll be like, no, or no. Like I have no desire to do that. So like older chicks, they're typically going to be more cool with doing chill things. They don't have this desire to go clubbing and shit like that. Again, if you like clubbing, then that's a disadvantage. But if you're like me, that's an advantage. I would say that's kind of where the advantage and disadvantage is at. At the end of the day, it comes down to people. There's some 21-year-old girls who are super responsible, and there's some 40-year-old girls who are John fuck-ups. So,
That's what's up. Primal Mindset says, do not have kids while unmarried. Was with my baby mama for 10 years with 2 children. She self-destructed the relationship after I paid for her degree. I want a little more details on that. I'm interested in that.
That could have, every single one of those things, I'm sorry to hear, dude, but every single one of those things could have happened if he was married as well. It wasn't the fact that they were unmarried that caused this. It was just the fact that she was an irresponsible human being. Like the marriage is not if anything, the marriage would have made things worse because after they separated, you would have to give her half her money. So I don't see how that has anything to do with marriage or non-marriage. It has more to do with just picking a partner.
Yeah, I want to know how. I want to know how did she self-destruct? What the fuck she do? Pop your tires? Did she sleep with your best friend? How did she self-destruct? I want to know, bro.
Me as well. But yeah, I think that has to do. That's like what do they call it? Like attribution error or like correlation error or something like that, where because something is correlated, you assume that, or causation error, where you assume because things are correlated, that's because of that, but in reality, it's just a coincidence. Like those two things are not actually causing this. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like one of those things.
He's gonna come on tomorrow too, so we gonna really tomorrow. We doing the panel. It should be like 10 people on there, and it's Red Pill and Mary too. So slide through. You can say. That's what we're gonna be talking about tomorrow night.
What time are you doing it?
It's gonna be at 8:00 tomorrow.
Dude, I might be able to pop on because I have my live stream at 9:00, but I could pop on at 8:00 for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, or after. It's gonna go a long time, bro. Like that's what people know me for, is the panel. So I'll be on here 3-4 hours and shit. People.
Yeah. I'm down. My thing will probably go for like 2-3 hours as well. But yeah, I'll pop on beforehand for sure.
Put it like this. That's why it's a part 2, because the first one was interesting as hell.
Nice, man. Yeah, for sure. Who else is coming on?
I'm gonna send you the first one so you can kind of see what can or what everybody who comes onto the channel, we're kind of familiar with each other, so it's kind of funny. But like my man Primal Mindset, he never been on the channel before, so it's gonna be a first for him. And he has a video. Well, you see what he's going through, so he's gonna be bringing that to the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And
good.
some people are super against it, and some people are with it. Some guys are like, "Fuck marriage," and certain guys are like, "Hey, if you got game, do what you do." So,
yeah, it's good to get different perspectives.
it's gonna be debatish.
I like you. I love debating. I'm all about that.
Let me see. Modern Life Dating, what's going on, bro? Well, look, man. You have any last words?
No, nothing specifically. Check out my channel. There's a lot of free content on there. You can check out texting guides, fucking picture guides, all that shit. I kind of again, like if you want to get nitty gritty details, it's on there. And then I'm sure we'll do more of these collabs in the future. So just catch me on there. Yeah, man. I would say we'll link the channel description. And then guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the description and all that, and I'm gonna put it in the chat real quick too.
All right, cool, awesome.
You're a moderator. Put his channel in the chat. What's going on, Jonathan? Stay up, bro. I'm gonna call you. I'm talking to Jonathan, not you. So make sure you follow my man on Instagram. Follow him on YouTube. Make sure when you go to the channel, you have to hit the bell. That's the rules, man. You guys be subscribing to people, and it's like you almost not subscribing to them. You gotta hit the bell.
You gotta hit the bell. If you don't hit the bell, you're gonna be in a bad marriage, like Mr. Primal Mindset. No, I'm just kidding. You gotta hit the bell.
Hey, you know how I found out is like some of my content creators who I follow, when they made that change, I thought that a lot of these guys stopped making videos. And then I go to their channel, I'd be like, oh, they're still uploading shit. Like, that's what's up. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people forget that, if you're not like making YouTube videos, it's easy to like overlook like the little technicalities of like YouTube and all that shit. But yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate your time, brother.
Dude, awesome. This was a fun chat. Thank you for having me on, bro. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, come through anytime, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm down. I'll see you tomorrow.
The only thing you gotta do is don't secret watch. So don't tell me what videos you seen if I didn't see you in the chat. I'm gonna be like, why you didn't say what's up? So you slide through, just make sure you say what's up, and you all good.
For sure, bro.
I'm gonna go grab some food, man. I'm hungry. Bro, where I live in California, there's no air conditioning. I do have a fan, but it gets hot up in here, bro. Like I'm telling you, that's why I'm not on camera. I'm literally wet right now, bro. This shit is no fun.
Dude. Where do you live again?
I live in the Bay Area, Oakland.
Okay, is it hot?
Sometimes I done have to sleep on my floor sometimes because it'd be so fucking hot. Like,
damn, dude, it's that hot there right now? Because I always thought like the Bay Area stays pretty cool.
It's hitting the hundreds yesterday and today too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I guess not.
Especially when you're not used to it,
Dude, I've only ever been to the Bay Area once in my life. I went in like July, and I remember I was like walking around in like a sweatshirt night. It was like 65 or 60, whatever, in the when I went there. So I think I just caught it like during a cold front or something.
What part you go to?
I went to San Francisco and I went to San Jose.
See, San Francisco is cool over there because you're literally right there on the water. See, where I'm at, it's Oakland is like about 20 minutes away.
But it makes that big of a difference in terms of weather.
Yeah, it does make that much of a difference. Dead ass, like, cause I don't even have to throw San Francisco in there. Like from here to Berkeley, it makes that much of a difference, and that's not even. That's not even the main thing.
Well, actually, you know what? I can kind of see that because when I used to live in LA, like Santa Monica and Hollywood were like without traffic 20 minutes, 30 minutes apart, but like the weather can go up by 15 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hot as hell. And we don't have no AC. The fans and shit don't be kicking, bro, because it's hot air.
Dude, I live in Miami, and one time my AC died for a night. I thought I was gonna die that night. Like I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to sleep? It's just like a puddle of sweat. I could not imagine going through like a long time with no AC. Shit, that's rough.
Yeah, this is only the second day. It started yesterday, and now it's today. So I'm trying to like get used to it too, bro. And it's no joke, brother. Like I say, I'm not one of these YouTuber guys who don't want to be on camera. I don't mind, but I'm on here wet on this right now. Y'all just don't know.
Hang in there, man. Yeah, watch out for that heat stroke.
Yeah, man. So, man, there goes his channel right there. and I'm gonna put it in the description and stuff. Y'all have a good night. It was a pleasure talking to you. Hit me up anytime, bro.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Have a good night.
Peace.
Take it easy.